Templates are great, but if you want to charge double or even triple for digital products, this is the next step. Let me show you how custom digital products actually work. First, let's talk about what custom digital products actually are. These are designs you create specifically for one client. And the reason you can charge more for this compared to selling templates is simple. You're not just giving someone a ready-made design. You're creating something exclusive to them. You're making decisions based on their brand, their personality, their message, and businesses will always pay premium rates for that level of personalization. This is why custom design services can easily double or even triple your digital product income. To give you a better picture of what custom design digital products look like, here are some concrete examples of who you can sell these to and what you can actually create for them. First example are small business owners who need branding kits. This will honestly be your biggest customer base. Small business owners need branding more than anyone, and they're usually happy to pay premium rates because the branding you create for them becomes part of their business. It's something they'll use everywhere: their website, packaging, social media, marketing, signage, everything. For this type of client, you can create a full branding kit that includes things like a primary logo, secondary logos or submarks, a brand icon or symbol, typography selections, color palette, maybe even branding mockups. The key difference here compared to selling templates is that templates require them to edit and adapt everything themselves. But many business owners don't want that, especially if they have a very specific vision in mind. I get a ton of messages on my own Etsy shop from business owners asking for custom work, so I can confidently say this: small business owners are your lowest hanging fruit. They're the ones who will happily pay for premium design services because this is directly tied to how they present their business, which ultimately makes them money. So if you have a talent for branding or even just understanding a client's vision, this is a fantastic niche for custom digital products. Example number 2 are couples who want bespoke wedding invitations. This one is very close to my heart because I'm planning my own wedding right now, and let me tell you, couples will absolutely pay for custom designed wedding invitations. I've personally reached out to artists for quotes, and these custom wedding invite designs are priced quite high for good reason. They're personal and they set the tone for the entire wedding aesthetic. If you have a knack for illustration, layout design, or anything creative, this industry is something I highly recommend exploring. As someone who used to be a wedding photographer, I can confirm the wedding industry pays really well. And as a bride now, I can also confirm people spend on custom design work. You can create things like custom wedding invitations, save the date cards, monograms, wedding logos, illustrated venue sketches, personalized couple portraits, menu cards, signage, and many more. This is a niche you can genuinely build an entire side business around. Third example are people who want commissioned artwork. This is another market that does really well on Etsy. If you have drawing or illustration skills, digital or traditional, people love commissioning artists to create custom pieces. These can be for gifts, home decor, nursery artwork, wedding or event decor, profile pictures, pet portraits, personal branding, family portraits, and so many more. And commissioned artwork can be priced very well depending on your style, skill, and turnaround time. I've personally purchased commissioned art on Etsy, so I can tell you firsthand that there is a strong audience for this, as long as you position your work well and showcase your style clearly. So those are just a few examples, but there are so many more custom digital products you can create. The market for personalized design work is huge, and this is honestly one of the easiest ways to set your price point higher because people will always pay more for something created specifically for them. So how do you actually offer custom designed digital products? There are a few ways you can do this depending on what platform you're already on. 1. If you're already selling on Etsy, you can create a separate listing dedicated to your custom design services. I actually see this a lot from artists and designers. Customers simply purchase the listing and then you can message them directly to send a form or a questionnaire so you get a clear idea of what they want. And I believe you can do this on pretty much any selling platform. Just create a listing or a product page that says custom design services and outline what they will receive. Once they place an order, communication and the design process happens from there. Another really powerful way is to build your own little brand and market your custom work on Instagram or TikTok. I see so many freelance artists do this. They share their process, post before and afters, show time-lapse designs, and once they build a bit of traction, clients naturally reach out. From there, you can link them to your website, a booking form, or your selling platform where they can place their order and start the project with you. And if this is something you want to add to your business, the tool I'd recommend is Kittl. You'll see exactly why as we go through this. It lets you create high-quality, client-ready branding without dealing with complicated software. I'm honestly kind of amazed at how much you can do inside Kittl, especially when it comes to branding. Everything you need is already there, which makes it perfect for offering custom design services. So for this example, I'm going to walk you through how I would create a custom branding kit for a client. I'll start by showing you a sample client brief. This is the kind of request a client might send you when they're asking for custom branding. And then we'll go through it together so you can see how I translate this information into an actual design. So this is an example of a client brief you might receive when someone requests a custom branding kit. The business name is Bean Bloom and it's a specialty coffee shop and bakery. Right away, that already tells me a lot about the direction. Cafes usually lean more warm, inviting, and lifestyle focused rather than super corporate. Their target audience is mostly women in their 20s to 30s who enjoy aesthetic cafes, brunch dates, and working remotely from coffee shops. That tells me this brand needs to be very Instagram-friendly and visually cohesive. For brand personality, they've chosen warm, feminine, modern, soft, and slightly playful, which really reinforces that direction. They've also shared their color preferences, soft pinks, warm browns, and cream tones. For fonts and style, they want something clean but with character. And finally, the deliverables they're looking for include a primary logo, a secondary logo or submark, a brand icon, color palette, font pairing, and packaging mockups. This is exactly the kind of brief that works really well for custom design work because everything is clearly defined, but there's still creative freedom. So let me walk you through the logos I created for this branding kit, starting with a primary logo. For the primary logo, I kept the background clean and white, and I used the font Charo. What I really love about this font is the subtle curves and details in certain letters, especially the E and the L in Bean Bloom. You'll notice they have these soft, wavy curves to them, which instantly adds personality without making the logo feel busy. Technically, these are called glyph alternates, and what's great about Kittl is that it lets you choose these alternates for individual letters. It's a really small touch, but it makes the logo feel more custom and more premium. Color-wise, I kept it simple with brown and pink to match the cozy, coffee-inspired vibe from the client brief. And that's intentional. With primary logos, you really don't want to overdo it. This logo needs to work everywhere. Packaging, signage, menu, social media, maybe even a storefront sign. If you add too many elements to a primary logo, it becomes really hard to scale, print, or use consistently. So the goal here is simplicity with personality. And then we have the brand icon, which I'm actually really proud of. When I hear the name Bean Bloom, two things immediately come to mind. Flowers, because of bloom, and coffee beans, because of bean. So I wanted to visually combine those two ideas into one simple icon. I used a flower shape as the base, and instead of a regular circle in the center, I used an actual coffee bean. That one detail instantly ties the icon back to the brand name and makes it feel intentional. Now for the secondary logo, this one is usually a bit more minimal. I typically create secondary logos using just the initials of the brand, and that's exactly what I did here. I used the font Berlin. I placed the initials for Bean Bloom on a brown background and played with overlapping the letters slightly. That overlapping creates a sense of connection. It feels continuous but not rigid. Secondary logos like this are perfect for things like packaging stamps, social media icons, stickers, or anywhere the full logo might feel too large or too busy. Now let's talk about how I created the product mockups using the logos we just designed, because this is where Kittl Flows becomes incredibly powerful. I'll also show you the exact prompts I used on screen in case you want to use them too. So starting with logo 1, what I did was select the logo and create a smartboard. Inside that smartboard, I entered a prompt describing the type of mockup I wanted to generate. Once I hit generate, Kittl Flows created this realistic mockup of a white paper takeaway bag with the logo placed perfectly in the center. I honestly think this is so cool because you're instantly able to see how the logo would look like in a real-world setting, without needing to source mockup files or use another software. For the next mockup, I created a white pastry box with subtle stripes and placed the logo in the middle. This is a really simple detail, but it helps the client visualize how their branding would look on packaging they'll actually use in their shop. Another mockup I created here shows the logo inside an actual pastry shop interior. And this one is probably my favorite. Kittl Flows was able to generate a realistic cafe setting with people inside using the Bean Bloom branding. This is such a powerful way to help clients imagine how their logo would look in their own storefront. It makes their branding feel real, not just conceptual. I also created a staff uniform mockup where you can see the sub-logo printed on a brown apron. Another mockup here shows how the logo would appear on a takeaway coffee cup and a paper menu styled with food around it. And finally, I used the brand icon on a mug, which is perfect if the client plans to sell merchandise or branded items. All of these mockups were created entirely using Kittl Flows, and this is one of the biggest reasons I love Kittl. It lets you design your logos and create professional mockups in the same place. You don't need to jump between tools or export files back and forth. Everything happens inside one platform, which makes the whole custom branding process so much faster and smoother. And before we move on, I want to show you something new that Kittl recently launched. It's called Kittl Video, and it genuinely blew my mind. This is especially powerful if you're creating custom digital products because it instantly increases the value of what you're offering. You're no longer just delivering static mockups in real-life settings. With Kittl Video, you can now deliver real-life video mockups as well. So I'm going to use the same branding assets we just created for Bean Bloom. For example, let's take this takeaway bag mockup. I'll select it, connect it to Kittl Video, and then simply describe what I want to happen. I'll enter a prompt, let it generate for a moment, and this is the result. You can see someone grabbing the takeaway paper bag in a real-life setting. It looks incredibly realistic, which is honestly amazing. Let me show you a few more examples I created using the same mockups. Here's one with a coffee cup complete with steam rising from it. Here's another one where someone picks up the coffee mug, again with steam. And this one is probably my favorite, the pastry box opening with donuts inside. That is actually insane. All of these videos were created using Kittl Video. It lets you turn your designs into motion instantly directly on the canvas. No video editing tools and no leaving your design workflow. I personally haven't seen any other platform do this in such a seamless way, which is why I am so impressed by it. This feature is already available inside Kittl, and if you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend playing around with it because the things you can create with it are seriously next level. And lastly, I want to show you how I tied everything together into a brand board for the client. This is essentially where all of their branding lives in one place. It's a clear visual summary of everything we created so the client can easily understand and reference their brand moving forward. At the top, I placed the primary logo since that's the main identifier for the brand. Right below that, I added the secondary logo and the brand icon so they can see how all the logo variations work together. Next, I included the color palette and the fonts used for the brand. This is really important because it gives the client clear guidelines on what colors and typography to use across their website, packaging, and marketing materials. I also added a few supporting icons that fit the cafe theme and color palette. These can be used for things like their menus, packaging, social media, or small design details. And all of these icons were found directly inside Kittl as well. And then at the bottom, I placed the mock-up images we created using Kittl Flows. And once you're done creating the full branding kit, you can easily share this with your client for approval. You can invite them to view the project, leave comments, and request any changes. You can even present this as a full branding presentation directly inside Kittl, where you walk them through your design decisions and explain how everything ties together. It makes the whole process feel really professional and collaborative. Once everything is approved, you can simply export the final files and deliver them straight to your client. And honestly, this is exactly why I love using Kittl for custom design work. As you can see, it has pretty much everything you need to create branding kits like this, from logo design to mockups to brand boards, all without jumping between different tools. So if you're thinking of offering custom design services like this, Kittl is a great place to start. You can try it out for free if you just want to test it. And if you do decide to upgrade, I also have a discount for you. You can use my code YaleYT to get 25% off your first month on any Kittl plan as a new user. I'll leave everything linked down below so you can check it out. So if you've been selling templates or thinking about starting with digital products, I really encourage you to try offering custom design work, even just as an add-on. It's one of the easiest ways to charge higher prices, build deeper relationships with clients, and use the same skills you already have in a more intentional way. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It really, really helps my channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!